We're here.
Hola, qué bueno saludarlos. Hoy sí, perdón que la semana pasada estuvimos en la casa de los papás de Stuart, entonces no nos pudimos conectar, pero hoy sí vamos a hablar de ese tema que tantas preguntas hay, que tanto no sé, todos creo que nos preguntamos si estamos con la persona correcta o si esta es la persona correcta o no.
Thea was going a bit crazy. I think she was excited for today's video because she decided that she was going to have Zoomies right now, which was a bit strange.
Oh, I see.
But she's had some water, she's ready and she's settled and she's on the go. She's done. She's still hovering. You might be able to hear her in the background. But we're on. Here we are. Yeah, we weren't on last week because we were at my parents' house in Birmingham. And we did intend to. We sat down, we tried it, but the internet connection wasn't everything, was it?
It was really bad.
It was really bad where we decided to film. We don't know if we could have been somewhere else. It could have been better, but it didn't work anyway. So here we are. Yeah. Here we are. Back for the fourth podcast that we've done, which is awesome, really. We would have liked it to be every week. We did intend to be, but here we are on the fourth week of podcasting, which is exciting. We're excited to be here. It's an exciting time. But we're talking about something really interesting today, which is
finding the right person.
What an intro. Finding the right person. It's exciting because I think that's probably one of our most popular or common questions that we've got. If we've got one question, the questions obviously flood in because we're that known. No, we're not. But we have had the one question that pops up, and that one question is, how do I know who the right person is? Which is, and we're going to lead up to that in this. We're going to lead up to it because it's not just something that's like, right, it's not as, what's the right term? It's not as easy to define as we think it should be. And we just want to kind of give a general overall basis on what we think would be important, don't we? All right. So welcome to the fourth episode. The title is Finding the Right Person. If you are listening on podcasts, Apple Podcasts have a very helpful way of being able to rate your podcast experience. So we would love you, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts right now, if you could just rate our podcast out of 5. Of course, the more, the better, right? The more, the better. So that helps us get out there. The podcast platforms are full of things that don't give life. We want to be out there giving life, helping people at this time, don't we?
Yeah.
And so the way to spread it is by ratings. So we need to get ratings to get out there, and that would help us a lot. Another way that we've got is a buy a coffee scheme. So we do have at the bottom of our YouTube link, you can financially support our ministry and this idea in helping people with relationships and reaching out for those things that give life via the buy a coffee scheme. So that's down there as well for those that want to. Don't feel obliged to do that whatsoever. Should we get into it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because I like short intros, you see.
You do?
Yes, I don't like the big ones.
Was that sufficient?
I was long.
Was that long?
No,
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. So we're on it. Right. Go on.
So
let's talk about first, before we talk about what we're looking for in a person. Do you think, Nanny, everybody should be with somebody? That's the big thing because Go on. You talk about that. Talk about why you think it's a big thing, and then talk about whether you think people should be with someone or not.
No, I think no. Well, in the Bible says like when God created Eve,
Adam and Eve.
Yes, he said that it's not good for the man to be alone. But I feel like, for example, we can see the life of Paul in the Bible. He never got married because his purpose was different. So I think every one of us has different purpose, and it's okay.
But there's a great pressure to be in a relationship, isn't there?
Yes.
Whatever that looks like for you. If you're single, there's a great pressure to be in a relationship, have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And there's also a lot of pressure if you've then got a boyfriend and girlfriend to get engaged, and then it's marriage, and then it's kids. It doesn't stop. Like even when you're married, it doesn't stop, does it?
Or when are you getting a house now? And when are you getting the second baby?
Honestly, it just doesn't stop.
It's just society pressure that puts a lot of stress on people.
There is a lot of pressure. But also, as you said, you've used Paul as a great example there. He actually refers to singleness as a gift.
Yes.
So really, that's such a difficult thing in the culture we're living in, though, to be told or to be saying, "Oh, singleness is a gift," but actually, what's around us pushes us into the next step, as we've just talked about.
Yes.
What would you say to somebody that feels that pressure from society?
Well, I feel like, first of all, we have to, as the Bible says, fix our eyes on Jesus, because it's so easy to get distracted with everything around us and thinking like, well, I'm going to be happy when I have this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like anything that we think that we need to have in order to be happy, it's something that Satan used to steal our joy. So anything that we say, I need to have this to be happy, is exactly what the enemy will use against us. So we have to be very careful in that area to don't fall into the lies of the enemy.
Yeah.
Because first of all, being content with ourselves, being happy with who we are, and our happiness, that it does not depend on someone.
Yeah.
But from God.
Yeah, that's that. So what you're saying is anything that moves us away from. There's trying to get into the kitchen. You can hear her. Anything that's taking you away from the main focus, which should be to glorify God with the person we're with, is a distraction from God. Absolutely. I think we've made it. You're making an idol out of something else, aren't you? That's becoming secondary.
And sorry.
Well, I think we'll come back to this, you see, and what we're going on to. But this idea that basically what we want to firstly elaborate on is the fact that you're not meant to be, like, not everybody's meant to be in a relationship. Not everybody's meant to be married, or at least that's the Thea is deciding that now is showtime.
Sorry.
So that's the but basically, there's a lot of pressure, isn't there? There's a lot of pressure as us in relationships to push for the next. So if you're single, to be in a relationship. If it's a relationship, it's to get engaged, to marriage, to babies. There's always a one step to go, and we need to avoid feeling that. No. We can feel it, but we need to avoid acting on it just because that's what we feel culture's leading us to, and rather so because that's what God's leading us to. I think the really, really important, the one thing you covered is, why do we want to be with somebody? So let's look at the good things, the good reasons and bad reasons for why someone would be with someone in general. How do you want to start? Do you want to look at the good reasons on why we should be with someone? Or do you want to go down the bad reasons and go, oh, that's not a good reason to be with somebody else? Good or bad?
Any bad?
Yeah, let's start with bad. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, let's start with bad. So have you got anything that you think, okay, that's a really bad, and it's maybe one you've seen before from other people?
Yes, I think loneliness is something that, well, I don't want to be on my own. I don't want to feel lonely. So that's why I want to find a girlfriend or boyfriend, or, because I don't want to feel on my own, because I want to have company, because I want to be happy.
Yeah.
Because you see, even advertising, a lot of happy couples and everything, everything related to couples is like you feel or you think that's happiness.
Yeah.
When the reality is not.
Yeah.
When we are I think a big example of this is when we were kids, we were really happy, and we didn't have a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Well.
No, story is different. Sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
But in general, you're not thinking about that, and you're not thinking, I'm not happy because of this. We just enjoy life and enjoy every single detail of everything. And I feel that's one of the keys to be, as the Bible says, to be like children, like childlike faith. Yeah. And to live childlike. Yeah, that's a factor. Definitely. What other bad things could we think about? Bad reasons would you have for it's playtime for Thea. She's been for a walk as well. We take her out and she's like, ready? You ready? Ready again? Really? She's not. It's just going to wind her up, isn't it? She loves that bear. Anyway,
What other bad reasons do you think? I think like another one we see, and this is really popular, is like monetary or material gain. So like to be with someone because you think that this is probably more, would you think that's fair to say, to more of a female issue than a male issue?
What is the issue?
Like monetary or financial gain, material gain. What do you think?
I've never heard a girl saying I want to be with someone.
No, but it can be a deep down issue, can't it? It can be something where somebody says, I want the things, I want somebody that's going to be able to provide for me in this area. So that's I would say that's definitely a wrong reason in order to be with somebody. But I would feel that was more of I mean, I'd say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that would be more of a female issue than a male issue. Deep down, males, of course, have their own deep down issues, like being alone. Men struggle with being alone and they'd want somebody on their arm just for the sake of being with somebody. Or here's another one, being with someone just because they increase your value or make you happier. What do you think to that?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
That's the wrong reason. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because
you have to be happy.
Yeah.
The problem is, if you are looking to be with someone because you're saying, if I'm with this person, of course, like, we're not, we're all humans. We all love when someone tells us, oh, you look good today. I love you. You look really pretty. You're really handsome. Yeah. We all love these comments. But the problem is, who is feeding our mind? Who is feeding our feelings? Yeah. And this is the key. Because even if you're in a relationship, your life can be fed by your partner and not by the source of life that is God. And the problem is, your happiness is literally on someone else's hands. So the problem is, if you are happy or if you're in good terms with a person, then you have a happy day. But as soon as you have a fight, your happiness go away, because your happiness and your peace and your everything is on someone else's hands. So I think it's very important to learn to have this dependence just on God before going into a relationship. Because, for example, if you go into a relationship and you are someone that like get very affected by someone else's comments, negative or positive, then it's very hard for you that in a relationship you're not gonna do the same. Yeah. So if the person doesn't say you look good today, you're gonna feel bad. Yeah. Because you're the one who is feeding your soul, is not God.
And that doesn't come every day, does it? You don't get, if you look at, I want to be happy, if your happiness is the focus, we all know that all good days aren't every day. And so like what happens in the bad days, if that's your absolute focus, if being happy and being with someone that makes you happy is the absolute foundation of who you are, what happens on days that you're not? It's inconsistent. It just, you just fall through, and that's what happens. And unfortunately, like that is one reason that some people decide to split up from their husband or wives, is because, oh, this person doesn't make me happy anymore. And actually, like life happens, people change, like, and we need to work with that and grow with that, rather than just going, oh, actually, I'm going to get off on this roller coaster, I'm going to get on another one because this one isn't making me happy anymore. And working on the relationship is really important. So,
and I was just saying, like, this leads you to the next point, that is like singleness is a gift, because being single is like, if you see it from a different point, being single is the perfect scenario to make your relationship with God stronger. And so that when you go into a relationship, you have everything that you need inside of you. You're a happy person. You're someone that is confident. Your identity does not depend on someone else's comments, but from God. So being single is a gift, because you have a gold opportunity to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, it's the foundation place in which we should all start and all grow our relationships with God, become happy with ourselves, and then some people, I guess this is what we're discussing now, is if we go to a relationship, do we take on that relationship and have that as the focus, or do we decide that like that's the place? So singleness, of course, is a gift. Paul talks about that being a gift. From a position of singleness, we're able to have our primary relationship is with God, and we're able to explore our relationship with God from a completely different angle, and grow through that, and be like really grow in that, and have that as your main focus. And you can do single things on your own. You know, you get up and travel and go where you want without the worry of a family. When you're married, you can't do that. You can't do any of that, and so you're in a position that other people wouldn't be in, which is a blessing, which is a gift.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the good things, that good reasons that we should be looking for a relationship. Sorry about Thea. She's very unsettled. I don't know why. She's cracking out some games. Or where's she going?
No.
I don't know. Want me to take her somewhere?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about some of the good reasons then. It'd be nice if she sat here really and just fell asleep. Let's talk about some good reasons why, some things that are good reasons to want to be in a relationship, or where you're at a stage where you think, okay, this is a good thing, a valuable trait of being in a relationship. Do you have any that come to mind?
I think I've always had this idea of finding someone, like a team, where you can be a team, finding someone where you can both work together and just maximize both potentials, and together make something bigger,
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I think like somebody that's going to build people up, like finding joy in that and having that as your foundation is really important. So building each other up, becoming a team, making sure that you're helping each other and encouraging each other is a good thing to say, okay, cool, this is part of the firm foundations of a relationship. That's good. I think also the most important thing is just giving glory to God. So making sure when you're entering into a relationship, that relationship gives God glory, not yourselves, not my own happiness, as we've talked about, but that it's focused, that its main point is to give God glory. Because as Christians, that's what we believe. And if you're a Christian watching this, come here, take a ride. Let's move her to have here, because she'll just be fidgeting. Sorry about this, guys. But that's it. That the focus should be that. The focus should be that actually this relationship gives God glory at the very core of it all, at the very center point of it all, that it gives God glory. I'm going to give another reason why, like a good thing for being in a relationship, a good foundation.
Just that, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I just think that you're with somebody that doesn't make you happy, but definitely encourages you in your faith and brings you closer to God. That's a good kind of foundation point for these things. These things we don't want to go in and be like, okay, these are really specific things. What you want is, if you're a female, you want a male who needs to be two inches taller than you, 2 years older than you, with brown hair and green eyes. That's not what I'm saying. What we're saying is, what are the broader highlights? What are the broader things that we want to be focusing on when we're entering into a relationship? And I think these are some really important. Let's look at then, you've got a relationship, or you're exploring the idea of being in a relationship. What are some of the things? Let's go through our points here, because we've already kind of had a talk about this, and we've written down some points that we think. We've got six points that we think are foundationally very, very important. Can you see number one there? That one.
So keeping good friends in our circle. So someone that will be a good influence for us, not someone that is going to be pushing us to do something that we know we shouldn't. For example,
the friend or the relationship?
The friend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So having a good group of friends around is important, because you want friends like, like before getting married, there's some things that we shouldn't be doing. And some people might think, well, it's nothing, it's okay, and that has a big influence in your decisions and everything that you do.
Yeah, I think it's easy when you're in a relationship to focus on the relationship. We always, when we're like 20 or 18, or when we're younger, I could have named all the years then. When we're younger, we find our first relationship. We're in our first relationship, and it's so easy to leave our friends on behalf of that relationship. We've always, you know, I don't know if you've been in this conversation where your friends have gone, "Oh, you've left us ever since you got this boyfriend, ever since you got this girlfriend." But it's really important to find friends that can hold you accountable. To make sure that you, especially as you're kind of the dating phase, can go back to and say, "This is what's going on. What do you think about this?" And if that friend's a true friend, they'll tell you everything that's right to hear. Like, they'll tell you the things that are good, and they'll tell you the things that if they see it, they should tell you the things whether you like it or not. If it's not the right person, they feel, okay, that's really not how they should be treating you. They'll tell you. You want those type of friends. And also, not just for the relationship, like the first kind of dating phase, but all through the relationship, that you've got someone you can go back to. We have some people we go back to as individuals, as obviously we go through kind of counselling. But if Nanny wants to reach out to the wife of the couple that counsel us, then she can do. And it's great for her, because otherwise we stay in our own bubble and we don't grow. We don't get any outside help into, you know, let's say I could be behaving in a way that I think's fine and I think that she should accept. Whereas if she goes outside and says, "This is happening," and then that person says to her, "Well, Nanny, that's not really the right kind of behavior," she's holding herself accountable to somebody outside of us. And that's really important. And it keeps us grounded at all times. The second point I've got there is figuring out their why. So figuring out the reason why do you think that the reason that person does something is really important for a relationship?
Sorry, I don't get.
So like if like I might go to the gym and I want to keep fit, and so fitness is a reason why I want to do something, right? Do it. But why is it important when we're dating somebody and going out with somebody? Why is it important that we figure out why they want to do something? Why do you think that is?
Yes, I think it says a lot about their values. It says a lot about the values of the person, and you can start seeing like some red flags.
Yeah.
If you, for example, if someone is thinking all the time about themselves and I want to do this, or even in the church, you know, you can tell like, oh, I really like this guy because this guy preach in the church, or this guy does this and that. But what are the reasons behind? Because it's so easy sometimes to do the things because you want to be seen and not because you really want to do them. So to see those attitudes, or why this person put a lot of effort or on the way they look, you know. It's okay, of course it's okay, but like try to think about a little bit deeper there, you know, just to see what are the real intentions behind.
I think it's really important that the Christian, everybody has their own agenda for doing something, is where I'm going with this, is that like when I go to the gym, for example, my agenda might be to look good in my tight tops, right? I want to wear tight tops and I want to look really good and muscular for when I go out somewhere, right? I want to go out to the clubs and I want to look really good. Is that a good reason to go to the gym?
No,
it's definitely not. It might be a reason why, but it's probably not a good foundational reason as to why you go and do something. Some people might want to work work in somewhere really nice, but it's actually because it's the best way, or set up a business, like a side business, in order to avoid tax, right? It looks as if they're doing something really nice, but actually the real foundational reason as to why is fake. It's not a real reason why. So effectively, everyone comes into something with their own agenda. As a Christian, our agenda should be to know Jesus and to make Jesus known. And I think when we're sat down with somebody, our job when we're dating someone or being with someone is to find out what that person's agenda is. Are they nice to my family just because they, I'm going to put it out there, maybe they just want to sleep with you. Maybe they're going to be nice to you because their hidden agenda is because they want to sleep with you. That might be the fact. That might be the fact. They might just want to connect with you like that, and that's it. They might want your money. They might want to look good with you because you look good. Let's be real. Let's try and look for what are the real reasons. What is their why? And we should be living in a way that Jesus would want us to live, and trying to identify that. Because you're going to end up with that person really in the long run. How important do you think our third point is? Family backgrounds.
Oh, I think that's the most important.
Okay.
Something that no one thinks about when he's trying to find the right person. I remember having a lot of conversations with different people, and they were saying, well, I want someone that is good looking, because of course you have to like the person after the years and everything. And yeah, it is important, but it's not the main thing. I wouldn't even have it in the top 3, No, the physical aspect of someone.
What about me?
Because with the years, everything changed, and you really live with the personality of the person and the values of the family of the other person. So I think some of the most important things is to look what are the values of the family of the person I'm dating or I like or I'm attracted to. And is this, for example, if it's a guy, does this guy respect the mom? Because the way he is with the mom is going to be with you as a woman.
Yeah, that's good.
The way the girl is with the dad is the way she's going to behave with you.
Yeah.
If she does not obey to the dad, and if she said, well, I'm going to come back at whatever time I want, he's not going to, this person is just going to do whatever she wants in the marriage.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we can be very careful and not just go for a beautiful face, because at the end that means nothing. You really live with the values of the family.
Yeah.
And I think if one family is like, do whatever with your life, no boundaries and no nothing, and your family values are like, think about what you're gonna do, be more like responsible, put God first of everything, you're definitely going to clash with this person. Maybe not at the beginning, because the problem of liking someone just for the outside is like you can get confused so easily, because you just see like a fake mask, and the pretty face is not showing the real person. Because when you're dating someone, you're not like, oh, hello, yes, I do all of these things bad. I never commit to someone all the time. Every one of us show their best side.
Yeah.
So a big key to know if you're with the right person is to see the family values. What are their values? What are the way they go about things?
Yeah.
And yes,
and I think also vice versa. So like when you're in the family and you see how they treat their mom and dad, but also how their dad and mom treat you. You treat them. Got totally confusing. How their mom and dad treat them. Because like it's often some of the biggest issues in life come from like a lack of identity from parents, as in like there's just a breakdown of relationships. So any factor that you can see that maybe, this might provide, everybody comes into relationships broken already. No one comes with it all together. But what you're doing is just being a good steward. The reason we're talking about these is just to be a good steward of making those decisions. Really important, because some factors are going to be huge for your future, aren't they?
Yes.
So
values are very important in a relationship.
So how they treat their mom, their dad, siblings, and even friends.
And that's why when it comes to this question that I get all the time, and suddenly say, well, Nanny, I really like this person, but this person is not a Christian. So do I have to be with a Christian because that's the rule and that's what the Bible said? Because the Bible says to be how do you say that word in English?
Yoked.
En yugo desigual.
Yeah, equally yoked.
Yes. And I think even being Christian, you can be with the wrong person. So I think it's very important that you find, it's not, being a Christian doesn't say, oh yes, this person has the same values. So I think what you have to be very careful is to find someone that has the same values that you have. Look for someone that has the same values.
Yeah, foundationally. Not just interests. Not just, that I like to go to the gym, so that's a foundational thing for me. That isn't really that's not really what we're talking about.
Family values and the
family
way they
values, morals,
build this.
What's important to them. So some of the things that we're discussing today. Number 4 is looking for somebody that gives up already. So this is not really a family thing. It's not a really relationship thing. It's more, okay, if I'm how do I know them, right? How do I know that person? Do I know that person from school, university, college, church, right? Is that person, but I'm a heavy believer, if you're not doing things with the small, then you're not going to do it with the larger. So it doesn't matter. People say, if I won the lottery, I'd give loads of it to charity. Fact is, right, this is what I'm a believer of. If you're not giving to charity with what you've got now, you're not going to give it if you had more of it. So look for somebody that's doing with the small. Like, are they helping out at church? Are they helping out to serve people at the school, at the university? Is that the way they live their lives? Because obviously we're coming at this from a Christian perspective. The whole principle, the whole example Jesus left, and maybe we can do a podcast about this at some point, is to give up. Basically, is to give up on behalf of other people, is to put ourselves last and others first. And so, what if you want to be with someone that lives that out? They're going to be doing it now already. The foundations are going to be so that that person is going to be doing it where they're at. Let's look for that as people. Let's look for that as Christians. Let's really stand up and value yourself by bringing in someone else that will give up on behalf of you as well. Because, of course, yes, we're giving up. I think we discussed this in the other podcast actually, but I think the goal should be that, yes, I give up for my wife, but also that my wife gives up for me. And by doing that, we meet in the middle. We are really helping each other and guiding each other through. And maybe it's saying, okay, Stuart, I'm going to give up what I'm going to do tonight in order that I can take Nanny to somewhere else. But then maybe another night she'll say, and you don't do it for that reason. You don't remember, okay, it's my turn and all this stuff. All that, I don't know if that works for you, that works. But, the idea would be that person recognizes that actually, last time you took me, it's your turn to go out, you go and do something nice or whatever, or whatever that's just an example.
Yeah, try to look for someone that is selfless.
Yeah, but you rightly said earlier that dating is a warped version of ourselves. It's the best, if I go on a date with you, it's like, right, 7:00, I meet that person. I can turn on a different version of myself and I can hold that person for an hour, keep it up for an hour, keep going. And as soon as I've got in the taxi or the car and gone home, I can be myself. We've got to remember that. Remember, that's why you're looking for all these extra things, because that's who they really are.
And don't rush into anything, because I feel it's so easy nowadays to rush into everything. Right. I even feel the pressure now to have children because everyone is having children, and you think, well, I also might have to have children now. Yeah. But really, every one of us has a different purpose first. Yeah. And second, we are all in different stages in life. Even if you are in a relationship, that doesn't mean that you have to get married now because everyone is getting married. Yeah. And the problem with that is you jumped into something without knowing the real person. You just know the pretty version of this person because you've just been dating for 2 months or 1 month. Yeah. And suddenly you're like, right, we've been dating for 1 month. Now it's time to jump into being in a relationship. Yeah. And it's very important that you really get to know deeply this person in personality. And as you said, someone that can give up for you on things. Like you, for example. Stuart is a really good example of this.
Oh, stop it.
He's really good. I love going shopping, and Stuart hates it. He hates it.
Yeah, that's fair. I like to go in, know what I'm getting, and come out.
Yeah.
What do you like to do?
I love to go, have a look around,
Stay.
go to all the shops.
Overnight.
Nah. Go to all the shops, try them on, and then decide which one I like the most from all the ones that I try.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his story is a really good example of this, because he is a very selfish person. He always put himself last, and I really love and appreciate that. And I think that we all need to find someone that is not selfish. Like if you said, can you please try to don't go this weekend with your friend? Not with your friends, but let me put an example. Let's imagine like there is a couple, and this couple is saying like, well, we were gonna do this thing this weekend. Suddenly the girlfriend says like, well, sorry, I can't this weekend. I know we said that we were gonna do this, but I'm gonna go with my friends to the beach.
Yeah.
And so you're just thinking about yourself. You're not thinking about the other person.
Yeah. And
it's something that happens all the time in relationships, and you think it's okay. And you think, well, this person is not going to control my life. It's not a controlling life. It's giving up for the other person. If you already agree on something to do together and suddenly change the plans, that's being selfish. And being selfish is not going to go anywhere in a relationship. It's the number one problem, I think, in marriage.
Yeah, I think it's just letting that person know working on that relationship, growing together, letting that person know what's important to you, and learning to give up on behalf of what's important to them. You know, like that's the thing, is about listening to instruction, like what's valuable to them. And those people that love them will go, I know this person likes this, so I'm going to do this. And that's really cool.
Yes, if this person is ready to give up things for you. And vice versa. Yes.
So that's it. So that concludes that point really on, does that person give up for us? Is that person somebody that gives up already? But we did write 6 points here, but I think I'm going to add in a 7th, but I'm going to add it in now, if that's all right. Is that okay? Right. And I think that is that. And you you obviously used an example of myself, but what I would definitely like to just interject in there is that I wasn't like that when we met. Like although I was a Christian when we met, I wasn't as good at giving up on behalf of other people. I think the biggest thing though, and this is the thing I'm going to add in there, is just being humble to change. Like the minute that, and I think what's really good is, if you haven't watched this is the couple's key words that we did with Brandon and Karen. Brandon talks about something in that video there, where he says the moment you feel like you've got it all together is the moment you've lost, because you're not in a position to accept anything new in that situation. And I think that's a really, really valuable point, is that we should always be self-aware consistently. Is this making everything better? Or is it just for me? Do I want to do this for me, or should I listen to the people around me? So somebody might not have it all together, but are they willing to take on, to grow? Are they humble? Do they listen to other people's advice? That's something that I would say I have. And as a result, I don't mean to blow my own trumpet at all. I wasn't selfless. I was very selfish. But I learned to listen to people and to really take it on board, which helped me in so many other areas.
Yes, I was like, and that's something like when I met Stuart, I knew he had some things that I liked, some things that I didn't like, and some things that I expect him to change. And the key is to see. Of course, you're not going to be the perfect person, because none of us is perfect. But if this person is willing to change, that's the key. If that person is humble enough to recognize, yes, I struggle with this, but I want to change. If that person has that intention of change, that willing to change, that's the key. Because even the Bible says that God works with people that is like willing to change, with humble. And
that goes into our next one, which is similar, but it is also very different. does this person submit to authority? We talked about being at a youth club, being at church, being at university, and seeing how they give for other people. Do they receive from other people? Are they good listeners? Are they good at taking that authority? Because if they're not, it is that very much like, I've got it all together. I know what I'm doing. I don't want to let anybody else in. The Bible talks about pride again and again and again and again. And the reason it does is because someone that's proud cannot be taught. And that's what God wants us to be. God wants us to be growing all the time, and not to a point where we know it all. You know, one thing I love about, I was listening to a podcast again from our old church that we went in, and our old minister made a comment about, you know, he might change his mind in 5 years or 10 years time. And it's not because he's like a snowflake and wavering about. It's because he hasn't got it all together. Like, he doesn't know it all. You know, how obnoxious is that to come into a situation and go, I know everything on this. But humble in saying, okay, I want to be able to listen. That was something I struggled with. So here's the example. When I was younger, I always used to struggle with authority, which made me proud. It was a proud attitude. And the more I've grown and learned actually that pride is going to affect me negatively, the more I've had to give that up. And it's helped me. It's helped me grow. It's not been easy, but it's helped me grow completely. Last one.
I just want to say something.
I'm sorry.
So it is important, because if someone is not humble and someone is very proud, you don't have to rush to be in a relationship with this person. If you really love this person, put it in God's hands and let God change what you cannot change. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in relationships. You want to change the other person when the only one that can change someone is God. So you are carrying all this heavy weight in your back because this person does not change. And you think, I think this is the right person for me, but this person is not changing. And it's not your job to change the person. So the best thing to do is to say, okay, I know that you struggle a little bit with pride, and you have all these attitudes, and maybe you don't like to receive anything, advice or anything from anyone. So why don't you go and spend some time, work on these areas, and when you work on these areas, we go back together. And the moment you decide to leave it on God's hands, that's the moment that you're going to start seeing improvement. The problem is sometimes you are too tight, like you want to keep the relationship so bad, and you want to hold it in your hands. That is, you're just going to cause a damage with the time. And not just the person is not going to change, but you are also going to be affected by that. And that's the toxic circle that we see in relationships. So give it a time, fix the things that each of you have to fix separate, and then go together when you're both humble and with all of these characteristics.
You're doing really well. You're 43 minutes in, and this is all English.
I know.
That's sick.
Smashing
it, geezer. Yes, which also leads us very nicely into our last point, which is giving it to God, which we would talk about as spiritual confirmation. So we believe that God speaks to people actively through his word, through active, communication. I believe that God speaks to different people in different ways, but sometimes we know that we're led to do something because God confirms things for us. And that could be prophetic words. It could be just kind of encouragement in that type of direction. We had that, didn't we? Like, on top of everything else, someone, did we talk about this in a different podcast? I think we did. Or maybe definitely on a YouTube at some point in the story, how we met. We talked about, we talked about when someone came to your families for a meal, and he said that there was purpose in our relationship. And we were kind of like quite intimidated, by that. And we began to, explore it as a result. But it was one of many things, wasn't it? And it wasn't the first time either. Some other people either came after or before that and helped confirm that for us. So it was on top of other things, but we don't want to just promote that actually it's all in It's all practical steps that you've got to take, because we very much believe there's a spiritual element to this at all. What would you say to that?
I think the most important thing is like, don't be too attached to something or to someone. Just leave it to God. You know, in the Bible, we see the story of Abraham when God asked for his son to kill his son. And I'm sure God didn't want Isaac to die. He was just tasting Abraham's heart. And that happens a lot in our lives sometimes. Maybe God is asking you for that relationship that you know that you shouldn't be there. Or maybe God is asking you for that relationship because God knows that your focus now is just that relationship. And everything that you have that is consuming your thoughts and is consuming your time and everything that you are is just around that thing. Going back to how we started, everything that you need to have in order to be happy. It's something that it's a red flag, and God will say, wait a minute. I need to take this away from you. Otherwise, it will damage more than doing something good. So bringing everything to the altar, bringing everything to God and say, like the way Abraham did, he said, okay, you give it to me. And in the same way, you take it away. I'm going to put this relationship in your hands. And I think like when we release control, when we release that, like I need to have this relationship in order to be happy, or I want to make this relationship work because yes.
Because yes.
That's where everything started going worse and worse and worse. So I don't know. I feel really strong from God to say this. Maybe someone is listening to this and you need to hear this. But I feel like God has been insisting in some of the persons that are listening to this podcast to just release the control on some relationships, to just let it go and trust that God is the one who is going to transform that person.
Really
so
really
yes, and also ask for God to confirm. I remember every time I like someone, well, I haven't liked many guys in my life. I've always been very picky. No, I've always liked to find personality, And I remember the times that I liked someone and I started seeing like, well, this is going a bit serious. I used to ask God, okay, God, if this is from you, I want you to confirm this to me. And if it's not from you, I want, now that everything is perfect and nothing seems bad, if it's not your will, I just want you to do something so that we have a fight or any disagreement, but show me, close the door. Even if you have to slap the door, just do it. Do it because God will always know what's better for us. He can see what's ahead and you can't, especially when you're meeting someone and they just put like their pretty face or best side.
That's really good. So that concludes our points, really. Do you think there's anything else you would add in there that you think, okay, that's important on top of that?
Yes, I think that someone that makes you happy. That's really bad. No, that makes you laugh is what I say.
Okay.
Not happy.
Not the it's not we're not talking foundational things. Making someone happy, making someone laugh are all really nice things, but they shouldn't be the foundational reason you're with somebody, because they don't always make you happy. They don't always make you laugh. And so, we've talked about this earlier. But I remember once going around to a friend's house, Charlie Gwynn, actually, many years ago, right, just to catch up. And she was with another friend of mine, George. They're now married, kids, amazing, right? And she went to me, well, yeah, but there's no point being with somebody unless you want to marry them. And I remember, like, I was at this place where that was like, boom, like, what? Excuse me? You want to, like, what happens if down the line you just, like, change your mind and whatever? There was integrity there. Like, I was shocked, right? But I went away. And like I thought about that, and I was like, that was a life-changing moment for me. Like I was like, whoa, like that. There's some integrity to say, like why would you just sit and waste your time? Why would you go from girlfriend to girlfriend to girlfriend? And I very much did that, to be honest. I just went, to be honest, you know it all anyway. But you know, I was searching for something. I was searching for people to fill exactly kind of the voids that I wanted them to fill, and that void constantly changed. And that you can't continue living like that. Why should we keep living like that? We're getting into something else here, but I think that was just a big moment for me, was to be like, right, you know, the person I'm with, and I was more, I showed more intent from then on. I felt more intent to be like, right, if I'm going to be with this person, I want to make serious decisions. I want to make good decisions.
Yeah. So think, is this person a good material for a husband or wife?
Yeah. What's this? Oh, girlfriend material, wife material.
Yeah, because otherwise, what's the point? You're going to end up with a heartbroken or married.
But that's it.
Go with that idea. If you think I would definitely, we're going to talk about that because it's very extended.
What we're going to talk about?
Something that I was going to talk about, but we can talk in a different podcast.
Sick.
Right.
So let's just go through what we're talking about here. So the first one, keeping good friends that are going to hold you accountable through at the start of and through your relationship. 1. Number 2, figuring out that person's why. Why does that person do the things that do? What makes the other person that's a potential suitor, boyfriend, girlfriend, what makes them tick?
What are their intentions behind everything they do?
Sick. Number 3, that person's family background, right? It's not everything, but like what are their morals, what are their values? Thank you. Yeah. How do they treat their mom? How do they treat their dad? How do they treat their siblings? These are all important factors, because how they treat them, the people they love the most, will ultimately be you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if it's not good, it's also not going to be good. I don't want to avoid what's good here. At the end of the day, it's the truth, right? Number 4, looking for someone that gives up already, making sure that in the way that you know them already, school, university, church, they are giving up
for others.
Yeah, it's similar to their why in a way. You know that they're doing it for the right reasons if they're doing it when nobody else is looking, right? But are they doing it already? Because if they're doing it already, they will continue to do it for you. We talked about being humble and changing. So that was our made up 5th one. Making sure that person is, at least, they might not be perfect, but they're ready to listen and learn and grow.
Yeah.
That was a good one as well. Does this person 5? Does this person submit to authority? That was a good one, because if you can see that, you become, in a way, men or female, there's times where Nanny needs to tell me exactly what I want to hear. Sometimes she is my authority, right? Don't care how manly or unmanly that sounds, that's the fact, and vice versa. Sometimes I have to say to her, like, oh, I'm not happy about this, and we'll talk about that. That's right, that works, equal playing field, right? But yeah, can I take that? Can Nanny take that? If we can't, we need to work on that. And the last one is just spiritual confirmation. It's knowing that actually we're not fully in control of everything, that God does direct us, God does confirm for us, the plan, the great and amazing plan that he has for our lives. And that is it for today, guys. I think if you like what you've heard, do you want to do that bit in Spanish? Go on.
No,
you don't want to do it. Okay. In English, right? If you like what you've heard, we'd love you to subscribe. What we're doing, support if you can in any way, shape, or form. And what that means for us is on YouTube, liking, subscribing. If you're on YouTube now, watching right now, could you just hit the thumbs up for me right now? It takes 1 second. Yeah, that would be great. Would also be good if you're listening on podcasts. If you're driving, honk your horn and tell everybody that's driving around you. Keep your eyes on the road, but tell everybody to follow our podcast. Do that, and we would love to have you tuned in. And if there's something you would like us to talk about, let us know. It's really important for us to grow together as a family here on the when 2 or more podcasts. I was going to say we're 3 or more because Thea's with us, but when 2 or more with the McCaws. So thank you so much for that. Address that.
You?
No, you go.
You Yes, so thank you so much. Hola, Puppy! Thank you.
Awesome, guys. You take care.
Love you.
Hope to see you guys soon. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.